Canadiens are proud to select Ivan Demidov.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to a brand new episode of the Curfew Boys podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in, watching us on YouTube. Please like and subscribe. Absolutely free. Tell your friends about us at the end of this episode. If you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or any other audio podcast platform, thank you so much for tuning in. I am Sammy with my boys Zook and my cousin Chris. Hey now.
Hey now.
How you guys
How's
doing?
it going? Not bad.
Pretty good. Excited for this episode. I think we got some nice things to offer the fans tonight.
Pretty good. Are we gonna have a good enough episode to follow up our last episode with the one and only Simona Jacki, mother of Arbor and Florian Jacki?
I was about to say,
Sam.
I kind of felt left out. No, I'm kidding.
Hey, you were invited.
I know, I'm kidding. It's
I
just
know.
circumstance, dude. I felt left out due to circumstance there. Is that a better
I'm still on a high from that episode because I think
fantastic.
it was fantastic. She was fantastic for her very first podcast. Like, we should be honored as the Curfew Boys that we're going to be her very first podcast. You always remember your first. That's or so they tell me, right? So
she did an outstanding job. Seriously,
great. I love
she
her.
was.
I love her.
Yeah, great episode. She was entertaining. She really, honestly, I think it's our top episode. I think it's the most listened to episode. Guys, if you haven't listened to it, go right on YouTube. Sticks out like a sore thumb. Honestly, some great, unique content that we haven't heard anywhere else. So, yeah,
the life of a hockey mom, basically, and from her point of view and onwards. So we all know the story, but yeah, something current subscribers and new subscribers should check out. Gentlemen, okay, we got a pretty great topic for tonight's episode. Just before we get there, there's just two things I actually want to touch base on because, I mean, we're recording this episode on Wednesday, September 11th, and when you hear September 11th, we obviously know what it's related to. Obviously, it's what now? It's 23 years ago. That's crazy to think. Zook and I and Anthony and Joey and Adri, Chris, we were all in the same high school. Zook and I were attending the same class when I remember our home ec teacher told us.
Home ec.
Yeah, it was home ec. He goes, you guys, when you go home, you're going to see the news and you're going to be shocked. And we're all there like, what the fuck? What is he talking about?
We were 12?
We were 11, 12. This 11. Or 12, maybe. Yeah, we were 12. No social media, no cell phones like we have now. We're all like, what the hell is he talking about? And, obviously the rest is history. So listen,
I have to ask though.
Yeah,
I have to ask. That's all they did?
They didn't
really?
Make us leave. I did not. We did not leave school. They did not make us go home.
So I remember some friends of mine who lived near the airport. They had schools near in Ville Saint Laurent.
Yeah,
they left half a day because they didn't know at that point what was happening with the aviation's airfield, if you will. If there was any risks with the major airports because it was a terrorist attack, right? So they didn't know what was going on, so they shut down some areas. So I know some people were sent home earlier. We weren't. Us were stuck in the East End. They don't give a damn here. But
but on that side of things, what I find crazy is that they just said when you go home, the news is going to be crazy. I remember it was quite an eventful moment. We actually stopped in the middle of the class. The teacher, I was in elementary school. So I think I was five school years behind you guys. So I'm there, and the teacher turned on the radio, and the kids were all sitting on the floor, and we were listening to the news live. It was crazy. I remember my dad was traveling. I started to get really, really, really nervous because I didn't know where my dad was. He was often in the States for business. Lo and behold, he was in Italy. Got stuck in Italy for an extra 2 weeks.
Place to get stuck.
Happened, but it's just crazy when you guys, Sammy, I'm sorry to sidetrack it, but I guess we all have our own version of it that we remember. But I was
it was one of those
grade.
Yeah, it's one of those "where were you when that happened" type of deal. So, and that's what it was. But I remember our teacher, like to the best of my memory, like I don't even know how he was able to give the class that day. Like, and I don't think he was all there, and I don't think functioning adults, or just people in general, like how they got carried on in their workday, let alone a teacher. But listen, I mean, all that to say is, like, today's a day where, we remember the 343 FDNY members that, they made the ultimate sacrifice. Over almost 100 law enforcement personnel of not just the NYPD, but some of the FBI and all that. Some EMTs and EMS. Like we think about how devastating it was. Obviously one of the deadliest attacks on American soil. Almost 3,000 innocent civilians' lives were lost. But I think it's also important to recognize, like, this was probably the greatest rescue mission ever conducted on at least American soil, probably North American soil. Like, you're talking about 10,000 to close to maybe 13 or 15,000 lives saved. So, we remember the attacks. We remember those who passed, who died. But I think it's also important to remember, to recognize the good that came out of it. And it's like a nation came together, almost the world came together to help out, and to save 10,000 people plus, to me, is something to honor big time. And you guys all know what I do for a living outside of this podcast. And, this might sound cliche, but that event was literally the ripple foundation effect, if you want to call it, of that led to what I do today. And what ended up happening to me today on my volunteer fire department is, like, we actually responded to a residential structure fire. And in the moment, and I just want to point out that no casualties were lost. Nobody's lives were lost. Unfortunately, major damage to the homes, but some property was saved and salvaged. And it's weird to think that this is probably the first time in my 12 or 13 year career that I fought a fire on September 11th. And it's such a weird feeling. Like, it's strange. It's I don't know how to explain it. It's just weird. It's just, out of all days, like, it could happen anytime, anywhere, but just out of all days on September 11th, like, it's a bit, I don't know.
It's a strange coincidence.
Yeah, I think so. You don't think about it in the heat of the moment. It's mostly when you come home after, and, like, the adrenaline's kind of like cooling off, and you take a nice cold shower after to get all the smoke stink off of you. And I was there, I'm like, holy fuck, like, Jesus Christ, it's September 11th today and fought a fire. Like, I'm sure it happens all the time, and to other firefighters all around the world. This is the first time it happens to me in 13 years, 14 years that I'm doing this. So all that to say is, lest we forget September 11th to the victims and obviously their families. Our hearts will always go out to them 23 years later. And that's all I got to say about that. I want to kind of jump to another subject, and then I promise we're going to get into to a bit more of a lighter tone and to the core topic of this episode. But Chris, it was weird. Like, speaking of the Simona Jacka episode, like, it's just the timing that we recorded it. Like, a couple of hours later, we all found out that Johnny Gaudreau and his brother, that tragic event too. And not that we are going to totally discuss about it. Just, like, to me, since we're a Montreal Canadiens podcast, like, we have to give the shout out to Cole Caulfield and switching his number, going from number 22 to number 13 in honor of Johnny Gaudreau, who he said was his hero. A guy he looked up to as, like, one of the small players in the league that, like, you could be small in this league, but you could still make it. You can, with obviously hard work and dedication, all that just, man, I don't know if you guys saw his wife giving the eulogy.
Yeah,
like
crazy. It's brutally sad.
My heart broken a million pieces,
dude.
You know what's crazy? I completely almost forgot that Sean Monahan and him were close in Calgary, and then you realize, oh my God, Monahan went to Columbus to play with him, and and poor Kevin Hayes too. Loses his brother a couple years ago. Now loses possibly one of his best friends. Jesus Christ, it's obviously there isn't I still don't know what to say, and I'm still trying to wrap my head around it because I always liked Johnny Gaudreau as a hockey player. I'm not gonna go out and say we knew him as a person because obviously we did it, but you hear the stories that he was such a humble guy and a family man and all that. They're expecting a child too. God damn it! It sucks. And to go back to Cole Caulfield, obviously extremely honorable what he's doing. I just wish, I always thought one day he was going to change his number. I just didn't think it would be under these circumstances. And so happy to see that he's doing that. And I'm happy the league accepted it because apparently you got to wait there's a certain deadline. There's a deadline of when you could change your number. And obviously the league isn't going to reject that because if they did, that would have been bad PR for them. But, 13, hopefully lucky 13 for Cole, and hopefully that motivates him, even more now to honor his hero and friend, and it's the 13. I think to me, my only other favorite 13 was Mike Camilleri, to be honest.
Absolutely.
I was just about to say that. Yeah, it's going to be weird seeing Caulfield in 13. To be honest with you.
13 and then 14.
I wasn't necessarily a fan of that number.
Oh, really? You don't dude, it's good luck for Italians. It's true. It's good luck for anyways, that's what I was told. Unless my mother liked me.
No, but it's going to be weird seeing Caulfield, in my opinion, in 13. But I hope it really does inspire him to have a really excellent season this year, which he really has to have one this year.
I think he will.
But I think so too.
I think he will. But that also made me think, do you guys remember when Nick Suzuki had 88 in his rookie year?
I love that number. Fuck. I love that
number.
You're a Lindros fan, huh? That's why?
I'm not a Lindros fan, but I always like that number, man. Every number, when I used to play NHL, PlayStation, whatever, on computer.
I used to create
yourself? I used to always create a player, and his number was 88 because of our birth year.
Oh, see, that's.
I used to always choose 88, and even when I was in go-karting, my number was always 88.
Okay, interesting.
When I used to do the tournaments,
my number was always 75.
That's interesting.
My number was always 75. No, I think I'm not too worried about Cole switching the number. I'm pretty sure he's gonna do well, and I don't think it's gonna be that weird too. Look, we saw Thomas Plekanec at number 35 before switching to 14. We saw Brendan Gallagher at 70. What did he have? 72 or 73? 73 before switching to 11, and he took Koivu's number and made Joey really happy. So
there's even Logan Mailloux who changed his number to 24.
That's true. He changed his number 24 that he wore in junior and even with the Laval Rocket. And you know what though? There's one last question, and I can't help but wonder this. And it sucks that it's come down due to these circumstances. But I wonder if Cole changing his number kind of opens up the possibility of the Canadiens maybe retiring Steve Shutt's number 22.
Yeah, I'm surprised it's not retired at this point.
Yeah,
possibly.
I'm really surprised.
There's him and Jacques Lemaire, number 25. They need to retire. 25. Those are the two numbers I really think they should retire, and then maybe Guy Carbonneau as well. But that's
he was what? Guy Carbonneau
21.
21 or no
21.
Yeah,
he was born number 20. He was number
25.
Carbonneau.
I thought he was 24.
I can guarantee my life on it.
I'm pretty sure Chris is right though on this one. Yeah, so that means that's Gooley that has it. But anyways, no, I mean, it's just now that things kind of like moved on a little bit. Like it's just something I was wondering, like just out of like not out of nowhere, but just off the bat. But anyways, all that to say is like what Cole did for Johnny Gaudreau, extremely honorable, and yeah, I look forward to seeing him this season with that number. Like, and we know now that we know the reasons why and all that. Like, there's extra motivation there, and I think it'll spark something big time.
Even the way you wrote that post was incredibly well written, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Jeez.
Oh, 1,000%.
You almost had a tear reading it.
Well, it's fucking.
And I didn't know that he was that specifically close to him. Like, I get it now, of course.
Yeah, they played.
But I never knew they were really.
Well, they represented the states together, and yeah, of course, dude. The hockey world is close, and even within like we say how close it is with Canadian born players, like especially the Americans too.
Oh,
like,
the Americans,
they all know each other too, right?
Yeah.
And it's all from like a bit of that East Coast area. So yeah, so no, hats off to Cole Caulfield, big time, and yeah, can't wait to
let's get your 40.
Can't wait to see him get to let him get to 30 first, over 30. But I think he could get 40.
But you know what, Zook? I really, really, really like what you just said. As horrible as this news has been, like literally, fuck, it's tough to even digest. Like he's a star within the league that he's just gone.
Yeah,
it's horrible. But with what has happened, I seriously think Cole is going to be fucking dialed into 11. I think he's like, I really, really, really think he's going to want to do his buddy justice. I mean, he changed his number for that reason. He's gonna have him on his mind. He's gonna try to do him proud, and you know, sad things like this unfortunately change people. But you know, Cole might be looking at himself and saying, like, you know what, it's my time to step up for the next generation. It's my time to kind of, you know, lead by example and kind of follow down that path and encourage the next generation of smaller players. So the impact that it can have on Cole, and you know, we think it's just a number, but it's a haunting reminder every single time that he puts on that jersey.
Meaning. A very deep meaning to it too. Absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, no.
One second before people jump on my back. I don't want to use the word haunting, but it's a significant reminder. Okay, I'm sorry. Pardon my expression.
No, I'm like, yeah.
I don't want it to be a bad connotation.
No. We understood. Like, don't worry. If people take things out of context, that's their fucking problem. No, I get what you're saying, and no, it's. There's no like, there's no proper way to explain this. Like, how, like on a human level, like. We can't like, because we can't believe it. We can't believe this happened. I still can't. You know what I mean? There's no other way. It's he's doing this for his hero, Chris. Don't worry. I understood what you're saying. Like it's a reminder, yes, but there's honor behind it too, and that's it.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Thank
Chris.
you.
We got your back. And we're gonna end it off just obviously our hearts out to Johnny Gaudreau, his brother, and the entire family. Like, just I don't know how they're gonna move on, but hopefully they find strength and courage to just move forward one day at a time, one foot in front of the other. That's all we can do, right? Okay. I think it's time we move on to the main subject and to a bit more of a lighter tone, because I think we deserve that. Okay,
I agree.
The topic of the night. Yes, it's Wednesday, September 11th. It was also the beginning and the start of the rookie training camp. Not the development, the rookie camp, okay? So a lot of prospects invited by the Montreal Canadiens to really, you know, start tryouts and show what they got, show what they can do now that they're reaching the pro levels. And, you know, obviously, all Habs fans saw the list, and that prompted us to really do something fun with that and put together our own list, our very own top 10 prospects of the Montreal Canadiens. And, we're obviously going to do the rounds, the three of us, and we'll compare lists. We'll compare players. We're going to start at number 10, and I want to see where this can go. And I want to let the audience know, like, I'm basing this list that I created off of, like, potential roles on this team, how they've played in their junior year, where they're at right now at the stage of their hockey lives, and so on and so on. It's just this. That's just what I truly feel like their potential roles on this team and how well they're doing in their junior years at this very moment, or how they're doing in the pros, getting into the pro life now. So
there's one more thing to add to that. I think we have to add, because example, a guy like Joshua Roy, he has less than 30 games, I think, in the NHL.
And
23
games.
Spoiler alert, he's actually on my list.
He's on my list too. Yeah.
He's on my list, but like, it's a great example that, another spoiler alert, there are other prospects above him who have never played a game in the NHL. And to your point, these lists are also based off of what role we think they can eventually fill, what their potential, what's their upper limit in a certain sense.
Yeah.
What's their ceiling? Yeah.
Another spoiler, like I didn't put Jaden Struble on this list because he played over 50 games. Like,
likewise,
I mean, like he the first 30 games, like he was in Laval, and he got called to Montreal, never got sent down again besides the end of the season. Probably a couple of healthy scratches here and there, but he was pretty consistent in his rookie year. I don't consider him a prospect on this list. I think he is an NHLer for now. Anyways, so whatever. Some of my reasonings might be like, I'm for sure going to contradict myself, but that's too bad. You're going to have to live with it. And I'm ready who wants to break the ice at number 10?
Okay, I'll start with my number 10.
Okay.
It's in light, and no, sorry. Let me correct myself. It has nothing to do with the previous episode, okay? This had no influence. I'm going to say my number 10 is Florian Jacquet.
Okay.
Flow. The flow. And it's for one simple reason, actually. It's very similar to why we adore, as a fan base, his brother. All right? That character, personality traits that he has are apparently very linear. They're very similar to Arbor's. So in a different position. So apply what Arbor is to a, bottom six forward. That's what he's going to become. Sandpaper, gritty guy who could use his body, his size to get those important, either it's late period goals or come playoff time. You're going to want to have a guy of that size with that character trait, with that mentality to be your bottom six.
Well, I think I listen, I have him at number 10 as well. And it's because I think if we could see Michael Pezzetta do what he can do, I think Florian Jacquet can be just a bit better than Pezzetta.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah,
might have a bit more of a scoring touch. I mean, the kid did score over 30 goals in the O.
Did you see who they put him closely linked, like stylistically, with this old school player?
No.
He used to be for the Red Wings. What's his name?
Darren McCarty?
No. I think he was not Russian, but Holmstrom.
Oh my God! Yeah, there you go.
So he used to be called the Demolisher. So he was a tough guy. He was a tough player, but he used to always park himself in front of the net and get those rebound goals or cause chaos or create space.
How do you think Johan Franzen modeled his game off? He modeled his game off of Holmstrom to the best of my knowledge.
Go.
Yeah,
now,
totally.
Holmstrom, he used to get 50, 60 points. So I don't know if Florian's going to be a 60-point person, but look, even if he gets 35 to 45 in that role, it's important.
35,
especially if you want to fucking aspire to be in the playoffs.
As a bottom six forward, if he could get 35,
yeah,
45
I could see that.
That's not bad.
Dude, how his brother surprised us, man. I originally thought before he even skated with the Canadiens, Jack guy, Arbor, I always had the impression he's just a fighter and he has nothing else. You know what I'm saying? But he surprised people with many aspects of his game. I think Florian's going to have the same thing, but in an offensive
as long
thing.
My thing
he's not going to just be a fighter, you know?
Well, my thing about Florian is like he has to create his own identity. I don't think he should be thinking, "Fuck, I got to follow in the footsteps of my brother." Like, be your own guy. Like, the kid can fight. He dropped the gloves like quite a few times in the O, but he shouldn't have to fight because he's a jack guy. You know what I mean? So if like him too, he's gonna have to learn how to pick his battles, pun intended. And he's probably going to learn that from his brother. He's going to get some teachings from the coaching staff too. And it's just like just play your game. Like, but the funny thing is,
exponentially improved his offense though. Like from year 1 to year 2, like that's right there is already a sign.
Well,
you know,
65 points in 63 games, like over 30 goals. It's massive. Of course, that's a big improvement from his previous year. Yeah. So. Yeah, I'm excited to see this kid. Look, I'm expecting him to make Laval. You never know what could happen at training camp. But I am expecting him to start in Laval. Okay. And with the new coach, Pascal Vincent, like I listened to him today. And he sounds like he's on the same page as Marty in terms of how to develop these kids. And he sounds very excited. And like if he gives Florian Jacki top 6 minutes, even if it is in the minors, I think that'll be great for the kid.
Yep. I was gonna say, do you think he's gonna make Laval, or should he go back to the OHL and be that?
No, he's too old.
No, he could do what's it called there when you do that final year as an older player? He could do it.
He's gonna turn 21. He's gonna turn 21. Like he's going pro. It won't him going back to the O, and even if he could to whatever. It won't be good for his development. He's got to.
You'd rather do the AHL, but he would have to have substantial minutes and a pretty decent role there.
I think he can't
just be slotted there and play 10 minutes a game. You know?
I don't think he's gonna be the fourth line. Maybe I don't know if he's gonna be. I expect him to be on the second line.
Okay.
Yeah. Chris, who's your number 10?
Yeah, fuck. It's completely unoriginal. But I do want to add, I had a guy at like 10.5 that he has to get on the list. And, for the first time in God knows how long, there's just too much talent in our top 10. So it's hard to squeeze these prospects in. It was Florian Jacki at number 10. But right there with him has to be mentioned Adam Engstrom.
Oh,
he's like you can. I think you can switch either or. You can put Engstrom as a defenseman right at 11. You can put him at 10.
Engstrom is in my top 15. Yeah, Engstrom is in my top 15. It's the thing about Engstrom is like it's so tough though. Outside from Reinbacher. It's tough to really gauge these European players because we don't have full access to watching them on a regular basis compared to college hockey and the CHL. I do think Adam Engstrom is. I have him in my top 15 for sure, and I'm excited to see what he's going to bring this rookie camp and in the training camp. And I think he is. I'm pretty sure he's going to Laval. I know we obviously all know he signed. He's one guy I can't wait to see. Like he's a big kid. The very first rookie development camp I saw of Slafkovsky and the draft, Engstrom took him out, like lined him out. And Slafkovsky, like we all say Slafkovsky was big, is the biggest kid there. Adam Engstrom was right there with him, and at one point lined him out against the boards, took him out.
Well, that's the way I see it. I see it in like 3 to 4, maybe 5 years when the Savards are gone, when all the vets are gone, and you have, I can't spoiler alert, but I just see him as a bottom pairing, maybe with Jacki in 4 to 5 years. I don't think he's anywhere close. Like the rest of the prospects that we're talking about, I think it's more from 8 down. It's a question of time. But Engstrom again, I think is going to be one of our more forgotten but top tier defensive prospects.
But the thing about that is he's another left-handed defenseman. It's like where are we going to have all the room for these guys?
I think he's another defenseman who's comfortable playing both sides.
He could be that. I'm not 100% sure. I don't have those facts with me, but listen, if he's someone that could play on the right, yeah, maybe it's the coolest thing. Well, I don't know if it's the coolest thing, but a very interesting thing is that it's almost anybody's game on defense at this point. Like you might have maybe 2 or 3 guarantees, but then the other 3, it's like anything could happen. And this is the whole point of these rookie camps. It's to show what you can do and maybe force management's hand, force the coaching staff's hands.
There can still be trades as well, eh?
Dude, and you never know if you could trade 1,000%.
They have too many, man.
Yeah. Okay. I got to start with number 9 because this is gonna ruffle some feathers here. I'm giving this kid. This is gonna be sort of his final chance, really going into the pros, and he's a first-round pick. For me, at number 9, I have Philip Machar.
Oof, yeah. He was on my list as well too, but I removed him.
Listen. Everybody's. I'm sure some listeners are gonna be, how the fuck can you have Machar over Jack Guy? It's like, okay, Philip Machar was in the Kitchener Rangers was like these last 2 seasons. The Kitchener Rangers, like it was not that good of an environment apparently. To what I've heard, to the best of my knowledge, especially last year. Apparently, the locker room was very, very split. Lots of cliques in it.
Good to know.
So, okay. Yeah, Florian Jacki, 65 points in 63 games. Philip Machar, 52 points in 45 games. Philip Machar is averaging a 1.15 point per game, whereas Jacki was averaging a 1.03. To me, where I saw Machar really elevate his game was in the World Juniors. And at one point, he was leading the tournament in points. And he was creating these highlight plays as a playmaker. I've seen him skate. He played 2 games in the AHL before going back to Kitchener because he wasn't going to get top 6 minutes. I really think he is going to get top 6 minutes in Laval this year. That's going to make him a better player. And he has NHL speed. Like, the kid can skate.
He does have the speed.
He has the tools too. I think it's a confidence level, and it's just, just being able to take that next step. I think he's going to need time and seasoning in Laval. He's a late first-round pick. That's fine. I'm not giving up on this kid just yet, but I also think it's like, again, I'm not saying he has to dominate in the AHL, but he's got to be consistent and just play a good game. Don't worry about the points. Don't worry about the goals. Just make plays, create scoring opportunities. If he gets power play time, fucking try to excel at that too. Again, I think he can get top 6 minutes with Pascal Vincent as a coaching staff, but he is on thin ice, so I have to say that too. Who's next?
All right, I'm gonna jump on this. This pick, I'm happy to actually.
What number are we at? We're at 9 still?
We're still at 9.
We're still at 9. So, of my whole list, I think the rest is fairly predictable, and we're probably going to come together, just maybe the ranking. But dark horse pick, a player that I find a lot of Montreal Canadiens fans don't know too much about. Got a heavy amount of praise more recently from a Finnish hockey player. Olli Jokinen.
Oh yeah.
Oliver Kapanen.
That's who I had for 9 as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he has a significant opportunity to surprise a lot of players and really, come in and make a name for himself. I'm not saying that he's going to be on our top 6. No. I just think it's another prospect that might turn out to be really good and might even become a blue chip piece in a trade if he's that good.
He's definitely bottom six, like a top end, like for the bottom six. My opinion.
Well,
I don't know if you guys saw how he exploded in the World Juniors.
Yeah, he was pretty good. Yeah,
he was insane, dude. He was insane. He was definitely a notch above his skating, everything. It's already in it already, in my opinion.
But I think he's got competition with Owen Beck and pretty soon Michael Hage as well. So I could see
one step at a time. One number at a time.
But Sammy's right. That's why he could be a trade piece, in my opinion. But
this is why I could only see Oliver Kapanen play fourth line center on this team because of potentials of other.
But he's better than that, Sammy. Will he want to play 15 minutes a game at most?
Everybody wants to play 15 minutes a game. It's just, are you able to play
less?
15 minutes a game?
15 or less. I'm saying, what's the fourth line usually slotted in? It's around that 10 to 15.
Maybe 10. He could probably get penalty kill minutes for sure.
Yeah,
it depends. It depends what happens to Jake Evans too. If the management decides to keep him, there's still. I like Oliver Kapanen, and I can't wait to see him in the minors too. I think he's very good defensively, but I think that's going to be his role, which is good, which is fine by me.
Yeah. But he's also big. Hey, 6'1". Yeah,
you're right, Zook. He's a big kid. Mm-hmm. He's got the frame. You said he's got the speed. I think he's got the skill and the discipline. He's got relatives who've been in the show.
Mm-hmm. Sammy, right? Sammy Kapanen was his family.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there's the other one, very fast skater, Kapanen. Christ.
Yeah, who used to be Kasperi?
I'm forgetting. Kasperi Kapanen. That guy was a bullet. Well, is a bullet.
Kasperi. Kasperi. Not Jesper.
Kasperi. Casper the Ghost. Long story short is that, and I'm hoping. Again, nothing against Jake Evans. I think he's been a A1 teammate to the Montreal Canadiens, like for all of his teammates here in Montreal. I think he's been a huge role player. The guy has put his body on the line. He has dealt with a lot of injuries. And again, as we always say, all due respect, long term, I do not necessarily see Jake Evans here. And I especially don't see Christian Dvorak here. And you know what? You never know. Kapanen comes here, has a fantastic, absolutely fantastic training camp, and maybe Kent Hughes is on the phone a little bit quicker for a guy like Dvorak.
It could be, but and again, like I said at the very beginning, these guys have to come in and they got to force the hand of management. They have to come in thinking, no, I'm fighting for a spot. As soon as they're there thinking well, Jake Evans has a spot and Dvorak has a spot. If you go in with that, you're already done. They got to go in there really with the mentality no, I'm going to make the team, especially these other prospects that I'm going to name pretty soon. So, okay. All right. Okay.
Duke has to go first for number 8.
Number 8? All right. Number 8. This was a tough one because now we're getting into the meat and potatoes. All right. So for my 8th, it's Joshua Roy.
Oh boy.
Same here.
Okay.
Same here.
Really? That low? Interesting.
Our fucking prospects are that good, Sam. I'm not insulting Joshua Roy.
I did not expect him. I did not expect you guys to put him that low. I'm not saying a low prospect. I did not expect you, Chris, and Zook put him at number 8. That's all.
Low 8 is not. It's not that bad. 8. It's 8. We have how many prospects? He's definitely up there. But I'm just saying. So,
but then at one point when we first started, didn't we put him at number 3, behind?
Yeah, that's to show you how much depth we're just adding.
Before the draft, just to give you a hint, before the draft this past year, he was floating right around 5.
Yeah, correct.
And then we got 2 players in the draft, and
correct.
So I'll try to.
I think Chris and I have a similar list, but
so far we're dead on.
So look, I was reading a lot of things on this guy, right? So yes, he had a lot of goals in the queue, right? He had how many points one season?
119.
That's it. Now, but the common critic which is why most of the teams skipped on him, and he went. What was he? 5th round.
5th round, yeah. Picked by Bergevin, by the way.
So that means there was 140 something players that went before him. Okay, so the reason why is that he was considered, or he was thought to be lazy.
Yeah.
Lazy is similar to like a Drouin, for like, how he coasts when things are not going his way. That's what he even though he was point producing, his character was that he was of a lazy, but he switched. So in the last few years, dude, if you saw the way he plays, even for Team Canada, dude, he looked like a leader, dude. He looked like a leader on a really good team.
They put him up with Bedard for a reason.
Yeah, there you go. And he didn't seem that much, of a less of a tier than Bedard, the way they were playing.
I don't think he looked out. Dude, he assisted the gold winning goal.
And even that goal he scored, that was an open netter. It was all due to his effort, dude. He took the puck in the center ice off the defender, and that was all grit. See, that's something that he didn't have in the queue. So if he builds off that platform for this year, we'll see in this camp, he has really strong potential to be one of our, key pivotal players in the third round and the third line.
I think this camp is his to lose amongst the forwards.
It is,
especially because he was the best rookie forward in the minors at one point last year, and
he had good stats.
And especially now with Harvey Pinard being out for like 3-4 months because of his injury. That's kind of like his golden ticket in. Like, he's got to take full advantage of that.
I want to ask you, do you think it's not going to be considered a success if he doesn't make the team off of camp? Like, straight out of camp?
No, I don't think so. No, like, again, he's another player. If he doesn't make it out of camp, he's going to get called up.
He's one of the first call-ups.
I expect him to really play well again. If he starts the season Laval, he's going to get called up maybe 10, 15 games later if he plays very well.
I like that.
It's crazy because I do pencil him in. Like, I would automatically pencil him in to the line for the Montreal Canadiens. And I'll go as far as saying if Josh Anderson, who's a secondary, if not tertiary pick to be on the second line, if Newhook doesn't work out on the second line, if they can't find somebody to actually take on that role, I can see Joshua Roy actually getting a crack with Laine and Doc.
Me too.
That's just my opinion.
Me too.
And Joshua Roy, and like I said, it's no knock on him. It's everything put together. Where do I see him slotting in? I think he's a third liner, and the guy that I have at number 7, we want to hear what you have, Sammy, but the guy that I have at number 7, I think is very, very close and similar to Joshua, but I just think he's dialed in a little bit more.
Look, for those reasons, we said spoiler alert earlier. For all those reasons you said, Chris, I have Joshua Roy obviously on my list and higher, and we'll get to him when we get there. I have Michael Hage at number 8. Because I actually truly, again, first round pick, I really think he could solidify that third line center. Like, can you imagine you have Nick Suzuki and then you have Kirby Dach, but if you have Michael Hage, who for some reason, I might be off here, I have David Krejci in my head of who he could possibly be like. And if that's your third line center, like, there's like, I think he has third line center, like consistency in it. But if something happens, he could probably be that Swiss Army guy and jump to the second line as a second line center. The Swiss Army knife, excuse me, not Swiss Army guy. Sorry, that Swiss Army knife. Sorry. I really think if there's an injury to if it's Doc, the second line center or something, or you never know one day if they put Doc and Hage together or something. I mean, I know I'm really going with the scenarios here, but I have him at number 8 because now he's going into Michigan. He's going to college. It's like we really see what you can do. But if you look at the rookie development camp during the summer, two of the forwards stood out: Michael Hage and Florian Jacki. I'm sure there's some others too, but the ones that were really consistent, that really made everybody turn their heads, it was those two. So for that reason, I have Michael Hage at number 8.
So I'm not going to react to that right now because Michael Hage is obviously going to be part of the discussion. So let's put a pin in what you just said about Hage, and
Exactly.
we'll debate in
Chris,
a
You
pick or two.
you haven't started, so you go. Start at number 7. Who's your number 7?
So a guy that I thought was very close, and the reason why this individual got the nod against Joshua Roy. Joshua Roy evidently is more NHL proven than this guy, but I do think that he's more dialed in. When I see him, he's a leader amongst the rookies. Can't wait to see him this Sunday. Owen Beck.
Me
Owen
too.
Beck
Bro,
is going to be
we're the
our
same
top
list so
one.
far.
I have Owen
Yeah.
Beck at number 7.
Get in there, baby. We're the same list, dude.
So
far, well, apart from Jack Guy.
okay. Now
No, I had Jack Guy at 10.
Oh, you had him
Just
too. Okay, yeah.
I mentioned Engstrom because he was a
Love it.
close
Yeah.
10.5.
I have Owen Beck at number 7, and yeah, I really thought Owen Beck would have been the third line center for this team. Then the Canadiens picked Hage, and you're like, oh shoot, okay. Listen, this is why I think Owen Beck has more potential than Oliver Kapanen. They're two different players, but I think they both have that defensive mind game. Does Owen Beck have a bit more of a 200-foot game than Oliver Kapanen? Maybe. They're probably more or less the same, likely. To me, it's just what Owen Beck did at the Memorial Cup and at the finals, like scoring the 2 goals, Memorial Cup MVP. I hope to God Owen Beck, again, I could see him playing second line center for Laval. I could also see him being one of maybe the last cuts amongst the forwards come this training camp. Like, he's got to be.
Where would you slot him in again?
On the Montreal Canadiens roster?
Right now, yeah. Like,
I put him third line. Third, like, I could see for some reason, and it really depends what they do with Michael Hage, man. Like, it's going to be a very, very fierce competition between those two. Like, I feel it, and it's good. It's a good thing. It's a good problem to have. But I can't help but think either Hage or Beck at center with Joshua Roy and then maybe an Alex Newhook. Like, I see a third line like that. I don't know why. I just do.
That's a massive third line, brother.
I think it could be a very, very interesting third line. And
you know what? I'm going to use
Joshua Roy. Just 2 seconds, Chris. Joshua Roy and Owen Beck, like, you're putting two smart players together on a line. Yeah. Two cerebral players on the same line. Could be interesting.
Well, I don't want to. I feel as though it's been years since anybody has used this term, but that could also be a hell of a shutdown line with some offensive power. That's the way I see it. A line that's going to frustrate the shit out of the opposing team, but that goes on the counterattack and pots a goal.
To me, the best third line so far in recent memory I've seen was Blake Coleman, Barclay Gaudreau, and oh my god, and who else? Who was the other one for Tampa Bay? Yanni Gourde. There you go. That third line was terrible to play against, and it's third line players like that help you win Stanley Cups, which they did. So there could be some similarities there. I might be getting carried away. I don't care. I'm biased. Leave me alone. But I see that. I really, really do see that. Whether it's going to be Hage at center or Owen Beck. I mean, listen, at the end of the day, my God, if you have Suzuki, Doc, Hage, Beck as your
it's insane, dude. It's insane.
There's something good there. I'm just saying.
With what you guys are saying, the one guy that I don't want to say worries me, but I'm not so sure fits in the long run is Alex Newhook. Funny enough, years down the line, he's the guy who I'm just like, oh shit, like Newhook is going to be taking up space for one of these guys that we've been mentioning. I definitely think that we're going to end up preferring having Joshua Roy, Owen Beck, and Michael Hage as a third line. And at that point in time, there are other players that are coming up on our list who are absolutely going to be occupying the top two lines, at the very least top of the second line, and pretty much first line guaranteed.
Is this spot at number 7 the first? Is this the hat trick? All three of us got the same guy at number 7.
All three of us got Florian. All three of us got Owen Beck.
Okay.
9 was a toss up and 8 was a toss up. Well, toss up. Zook and I had Josh Roy at 8. You had Michael Hage. Then we had Owen Beck. I'm pretty sure it's role reversal right about now.
Okay. I'll start at number 6. And
Josh Roy.
No.
I'm going. Okay.
No, I'm going with a defenseman.
And here it is. If you say
but the thing is, it's like it's so close between all of them ish. Yeah, at number 6, I'm going with Logan Mailloux. Now, I'm going with Logan Mailloux. This it is what it is. I think his ceiling is still second pairing. I think at most he could be a number 4 on this team. And you'll as I name my players more and more, you'll honestly realize that this is not a knock on Logan. This is actually, again, a very, very good thing that if he's at number 6, that means we got something good on our hands here as far as the prospects go. I don't think he's gonna make the team out of camp yet. I think he's gonna be a last cut. I really, really, really do. I think he's going to be a last cut, and he's going to be probably the first call-up amongst the defensemen. No matter where there's an injury, I really think he's going to be the first call-up. I have him at number 6. He was one of the best rookie defensemen in the minors last year. I still think, again, because of that big suspension of, we all know his story of the past, he still needs to play a bit more top pairing minutes in the minors. I really give him a bit of that. He still needs to play a little bit more. He's almost there though. Like he's totally knocking on the fucking door. Like he's almost there.
Okay. I'm laughing because I gave you the thumbs down without having Logan Mailloux too far off. So that's a fair assumption. Zook, you wanna give your number 6 before I do?
Yeah, my number 6. Sure, I'll say it fast. My number 6 is, and like you said, Sammy, it's so close at this point. Like everybody is so close in terms of intervals. Anyhow, my pick is David Reinbacher.
Okay.
Now, even though statistically speaking, last year was a dip in form, there's a lot of things that are outside of his hands that were a contributing factor to these stats showing.
He was in a dog shit team last year, man.
Beyond dog shit. Yeah, it was a terrible team. Like the leading goal scorer, I think, had like 20 goals or something. Like it's nothing.
Yeah,
peanuts.
Bad team.
So it was a bad year. But that being said, I still like if you look at the videos online of the highlights, you still could see a growth in his game.
Mm-hmm.
His skating has improved. He also grew, guys. Like he's bigger than when we first saw him. And apparently now his health issue that apparently he had, or Osgood, whatever you call it.
The Chris Osgood,
the Chris Osgood disease.
Yeah, whatever.
Apparently he outgrew it now, so that has to do with probably the growth spurt he had, and he's a pretty hefty guy. And I don't know if you guys have seen it, but I've seen many examples of this. He has an offensive flair that people are not talking about. Like he reminds me of Goulet, but a Goulet that could score 15 goals instead of what Goulet could do 10 goals.
We'll see about 15 goals.
I'm just saying he has the potential to score 15 goals, especially if he's going to be on the power play.
Listen, his very first goal in Laval was fucking beautiful.
He looked like a forward, dude. Come on. It's
just
insane, man. Insane.
Toe dragged and sniped it against Belleville. Yeah.
And why he's 6th on my list is that he didn't seem out of place playing in North American ice. That surprised me. No, didn't look out of place, buddy.
He didn't, but he needs a lot more of it, though.
Yeah, he's still young in a sense, but yeah, I could see him a nice full year in Laval with substantial minutes playing in big roles. And then next year he's going to probably make the team.
Again, if Mailloux is sent down, if both of them are sent down, I would try Mailloux top pairing and Reinbacher second, or vice versa. You keep those two.
Yeah, and
both. you give them both power play opportunities.
But I also think they're both good potential call-ups to the Canadiens if there's injury. It's those two. It's Reinbacher or Mailloux. First Mailloux for sure, but yeah.
I agree with that. Yeah.
So that's my sixth.
So Zook, this is where
we deviate, eh?
Officially differs. This is where we leave one another. But
no problem.
Michael Hage.
You guys have him high, man.
What Sammy had said, I just think if I'm looking at the list straight up, I think he's better than Owen Beck. I think he has a higher ceiling than Owen Beck. Especially offensively, I think he has a higher ceiling than Joshua Roy. I think he's going to be more powerful than both of those guys, stronger on his skates, more of a physical force. I think he might become like I think Michael Hage can be a huge steal in the future years to come. Let's say 3-4 years down the line, we might be saying like, holy crap, what a pick this guy was. And why he's not higher on my list, like I think he can genuinely surprise than some other guys that I have higher. However, I mean, that's going to be tough, first things first. But I think he could surprise more than some of the guys who are higher. Like even Sammy, you mentioned Mailloux. I think he could have a greater upside than Mailloux. But that's when I'm going to start to lean on, okay, we've seen these other guys, or I've seen these other prospects play professional games against men in the highest league, and Michael Hage still has to prove that to me. I'm blindly confident. I'm blindly confident with saying he's better than Owen Beck and saying that he's better than Joshua Roy, but I'm not comfortable saying that he's higher than the other prospects.
Listen, but this is why I have Owen Beck just above Michael Hage. I have Hage at 8 and Beck at 7. Beck right now just has the upper hand because he's going to the pros. He's ready. He's ready to go to the pros, and just what he did in the OHL and not winning it, but winning the Memorial Cup and how he played. But that's why I have them one under the other, because it just Hage is starting his college hockey career. But I'm pretty sure in the future it's going to switch. And if Owen Beck does become a Montreal Canadiens and we take him off the list next year, all depends what Hage does in Michigan this year. But in my personal opinion, he's going to jump like within the season. So yeah. Yep. So I totally agree with you on that. Okay, number 5.
Okay, I'll start because I was booing you for choosing Logan Mailloux. I have Logan Mailloux at 5.
Okay. I have Reinbacher at 5.
I have Jacob Fowler.
Okay, wait a minute. Hold on. Let me just finish up on Reinbacher. Then I have to hear. I don't know what you took before getting on this episode that you put Jacob Fowler at number 5, but it's okay. It's all right. Listen, for me, I actually really see. I have Reinbacher at 5 because I really see a top pairing defenseman in this kid. I see him playing 20 minutes a game plus. I see him potentially or possibly getting power play minutes. I definitely see him getting penalty kill minutes.
Oh yeah,
as well. And Zook, you nailed it on the head. Like I think he's got more of an offensive flair or upside that not many people have seen before, which could be a scary thing, which could be a secret weapon. You know what I mean? Like if this kid could be a two-way defenseman, kind of like our newer Austrian version of Andrei Markov, but just bigger. Who could actually? We've seen highlights of.
Yeah, Reinbacher. You know what, Markov. I never thought of that.
If Reinbacher can continue dishing out the body, it keeps getting bigger, fuller, stronger. If he dishes out the body, like he could be a force on defense too. So imagine having a bigger Markov that could hit. Like I'm not saying he's going to hit like Alexei Yemelin did. Like
no.
But I mean. I see that.
I see the resemblance of Markov, dude. You know what? I never thought of it until you just said it. Like the way he holds the puck, the blue line towards the face-off circle. Like that's what Markov was all about. I see a lot of that in Reinbacher, dude.
Markov was never fancy, but he was so smart. He's so simple, but like every play he made was smart. I don't think he ever made a stupid play.
He was like an Andrea Pirlo. for the those
They look
passes
alike.
you'd set
They
up.
look alike.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. But he used to set up it like people were just there. Oh, perfect goal, and that's it.
However, it's so tight between Mayu and Reinbacher. It's actually crazy. Like, we're not far off, guys. But Zook, please tell us why.
Fowler. Okay, listen. I think it's important to start with a goalie within your top 10 list, because that's going to be a position in need, or a necessity for a team, especially if they aspire to even go deep within the next 3 to 4 years. And I think if you look at the upcoming goalies, there's probably 2 or 3 that you could say will be the next stars. It's going to be Trey Augustin, number 1. And who would you put 2? Fowler.
I definitely put Fowler.
And Askarov.
There you go.
There you
Those
go.
Are the three best goalie prospects.
And Fowler was back up to Trey Augustin last year, and he didn't look out of place, my friend. So,
dude, yeah.
And look at his stats.
Anyways, I won't say anything just yet, but okay, interesting. Chris, who's your number 5 again? You put Mayu?
You put Mayu.
Yeah,
and you know what? It's going to sound... the 3 picks, 5, 4, and 3, it is such a toss-up. It's such a toss-up between these guys, just because I think Logan Mailloux can bring an offensive game that's going to shock the shit out of us, and a physical game that's going to rival Jack-Eye. I know he's not going to be as good of a fighter, but I think he's going to be intimidating as shit to play against.
I think he could have that same mean factor. I do.
Yeah.
Well, we saw
I really do
together.
think, but I'm just saying, like, yeah, again, we spoke about, don't worry, I'm not hitting my desk. My freaking hand just hit it accidentally. But all that to say, Logan Mailloux went through a lot. And having gone through a lot, he's got a lot to prove. And that's the kind of shit that somebody goes through, that they completely turn their life around and become a different person, and it could push them to be better than we ever thought they could be in the first place. So Logan Mailloux might have, strangely said, a higher ceiling, but I still think he has a little bit of catching up to do because of the time, like the time away from hockey, let's say. There's a clear cut, want to see you a little bit more, but I definitely think he's right there with Reinbacher.
Oh yeah, I think the exact same thing, but that's the reason why I have Reinbacher ahead of Mailloux, because I just think Reinbacher's future role on this team is going to be a little bit more important than Mailloux. That's the only reason why. They both have 2 different skill sets that put in a team can be very, very great to have. And again, I can't wait to see that. Okay, number 4, I'll go. I'm going with Joshua Roy. And I really think, I'm going with Joshua Roy because I really think he's going to make this team out of camp. I think he's going to be given a 3rd-line role. I think they might even try him. Chris, you mentioned it. They might try him on a 2nd-line role with Doc and Liney, and I'm curious to see that. I really, really am. It's his camp to lose at this point amongst the forwards. It really, really is. And we saw how Harvey Pinard was almost like a Swiss Army knife. He was able to 4th-line role. Then when he played Suzuki, scored 14 goals. Maybe it's a one-time thing that could happen in his career. Who knows? But with Harvey Pinard now injured, this is Joshua Roy's chance even more now to make this team. And I really think he will. I think he can impress at camp. I think during camp, he's going to have power play minutes. I think he's going to have a top 6 role, because they're obviously not going to play all the same players at the same time. But I am expecting Joshua Roy this weekend during the rookie tournament versus the Leafs prospect. I am expecting him to lead the way. I really, really am. He's got a top line minutes. I really think he's got to take charge of this. It's really his camp to lose. But he has that potential of making the team this year, even if he is a 3rd-line center or at most, a 3rd-line winger or at most a 2nd-line winger. If there's an injury, but he's such a cerebral player. He's a smart player. I think he could have second power play minutes. I think he could be used on the penalty kill as well as he gets older and starts developing a bit more. So I have him at number 4.
Okay.
Zook or Zook?
Just go
for it.
So my number 4 and 3 are in those positions because of the same reason. Okay, so I'll start with 4, of course. For me, 4 is Logan Mailloux.
Okay.
And plain and simple. So I'll give you an example. So Mailloux basically came to light through controversy, right? With his whole story of,
the scandal.
The scandal of him, he was young, whatnot, whatever. Now, within controversy comes, especially in his case, he didn't even want to get drafted, right? So he already knew he was in the wrong. He wanted to fix what he did. He wanted to, make a wrong into right. He tried, he went to his a what did he do? He a sports psychologist. He did all of that kind of stuff. He also did some stuff for the community and whatnot.
Yeah.
So that to me is a sign that his mental strength now was also worked on. Mm-hmm. Pair that with his attributes on ice.
Mm-hmm.
That's a recipe for incredible success.
I like that. I think so too. And I think management recognizes that. I think his peers recognize that.
But he put in the work,
Yeah, he did. He has to. And they all have to. They all have to put in the work. You can't make it into this league without putting in the work.
Correct. So that's why
even Connor McDavid, like dude, Sidney Crosby puts in the work every day. Nathan McKinnon, like you have to. I'm not saying Mailloux's going to be those players, absolutely not. But no matter what skill set, like we even talked about it with Simona, like you got to put in the work. You got to do the work. You won't have any success if you don't do the work.
Right, but there's something that comes with adversity that when you overcome it, you're a next level.
I think so.
It doesn't always work for players who face that kind of stuff. Some players just leave or they disappear or they just can't handle it.
Some can crumble. Yeah.
Some crumble, and some of them that don't crumble, they become even stronger and could become, an icon if you wanted to, right? So that's why I put him on that 4. I'm not saying he's better than Reinbacher or whatever, but just because of that, mentally, the possibilities that he has because of what he went through, I have to put him on my 4th position.
Okay. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Got Davide, Mr. Reinbacher at 4. He's just a step. He's just a step above Logan Mailloux. I think he's a safer bet. And I want to go back to what you guys had said about him before. I think he's just going to be a pillar defensively. Like, I think we take it for granted that we've always had like Savard and we've had these players for years and years. Like Kovacevic, you take. I'm really trying to think of the Jordy Benz, the Ben Sherratts. Like
happy retirement, by the way, huh?
Pardon me?
Happy retirement to Jordy Ben, by the way.
Yeah, happy retirement to Jordy Ben, indeed.
Sayonara.
Yeah. And on that note, it's just we've had so many of these guys, frankly, they're not the greatest all-around hockey players, but they were great role players for, let's say, the penalty kill. They were great role players, when again, you were holding a lead. But you're holding a lead and there's no chance of going ahead, scoring, and doing anything creative with the puck. I think David Reinbacher is going to be something that we needed, and we didn't even know that we needed for all of these years, because he's gonna cut the defensive play and he's gonna lead the transition game and lead to offensive chances, whereas the Jordy Benz, the Ben Sherratts, the Edmondsons, like these guys are chipping it up the boards. There's nothing creative about what they're doing with the puck after they've gotten the puck or they've stripped the puck of off the other team. So I think Reinbacher, like you guys also said, he's going to be a big, possibly mean force. He lays the body out a surprising amount for such a nice kid. I think he's going to be a pillar on our defense. I really, really do think so.
Reinbacher's first pass out of the zone is actually incredible. Like
it really is.
That's something that I'm gonna be paying attention to, whether he's at the training camp and when he goes to Laval, if he goes to Laval. But like that's one thing I'm gonna be paying attention, because if he does that consistently, he might get called up to this team quicker than we all think. I just think that could be a factor too. Okay, interesting. That was what? Number 4. Okay.
4.
Yeah. Okay, Chris, take away number 3.
Well, we got the same guy, Sam. So it's Jacob Fowler.
Dude, come on, man. Come on. It has to be. Of course. Zook, come on, man. Jacob Fowler at number 5. No, dude. Number 3. Guys, like, do we not understand? Like, everybody in the especially in American hockey and college hockey is raving about this guy. Like, it's funny. The other day I was watching all of the YouTube documentaries of the behind the scenes of the draft, like going all the way back to the Kotkaniemi draft, Caulfield,
Jesus
and
Christ.
then Slav, Reinbacher, and now Demidov. And I was watching the Reinbacher draft behind the scenes. It's like just the way that debate went out about picking him, about the scout Billy, like just saying like this fucking kid has it, and like he wants to win all the time. Dude, guys, Jacob Fowler has that Patrick Roy mentality, and it's gonna go a long way. I'm not saying he's the next Patrick Roy, but that mentality of like, you're not gonna beat me. You could take all the shots you want. You're not gonna score, guys. I'm gonna get this one goal for me. I'm gonna save the game for the rest of the night. That's who he is. That's who this kid is. He's got one more year left in college. He's got a couple of things he wants to win, including the Frozen Four, which he lost in the finals. Fuck, he beat out Lane Hudson and Macklin Celebrini. His team beat them, mind you. Yes, he had Will Smith, he had Gabe Perreault, and he had Cutter Gauthier. I get it. He had a fucking all-star lineup for college hockey as far as college hockey is concerned. But Jesus Christ, like that save he made with his arm.
That was against Lane Hudson's team.
And it was against, yeah, exactly. Boston University. Dude, guys, like he's won at every level. He's just missing the Frozen Four championship. And I think he's got to win the Beanpot. I don't know if he won that yet. I'm not sure. Dude, guys, he's like, he's gonna be our number one. Like he's 100%. He's our future number one goalie. He's a big kid too. He's got ties to this province, to the city of Montreal and the province of Quebec. Like he's learning French. Like he's doing everything even before being an actual member of the Montreal Canadiens. Like he's
a well-spoken kid.
He wants to win here, and he wants to win here badly, which is what we need. I know they all want to win. I'm not saying he wants to win more than Montembeault or Primo. They all do, but like he's got that Patrick Roy mindset. It's crazy. He might be a bit crazy too, but like well, maybe like I don't know. I'm just shooting the shit here, but dude, like his fierce competitive nature is like, we're gonna be chanting Fowler, 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 and they're gonna be playing the Superman theme song that we've been so used to seeing and hearing after Carey Price highlight saves. That torch is gonna be passed on to him, man. I'm telling you all. I'm watching this kid. I'm gonna be trying to watch every single one of his games at Boston College up until the very end. I don't think we'll see him in a Montreal Canadiens uniform at the end of the season, because he's going to go all the way to the Frozen Four final. I truly believe that. And he's getting a contract at the end of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Amen. You know, before, since we both had Jacob Fowler, I'll probably get a little word in here. I completely agree with the Patrick Roy. It's something, the Patrick Roy mentality. It's something that we've mentioned a lot of times before this episode. But strangely enough, while you were describing that individual, I'm going to go with another American goalie that I despised. I fucking hated this guy. But hats off to him. He had a brutally competitive mentality, and he fucking fought. He gave it his all, and that was Tim Thomas.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going Ron Hextall.
No, fuck, no. He's not a psycho like
Eddie Belfour.
Another
Eddie Belfour's Canadian, but yeah.
No, I'm saying he was a mental case.
Yeah. Like one thing that pissed me off. I'm gonna go off on a tangent, but like Tim Thomas, I remember when it was the All-Star game here in Montreal, and he said, I want to be in nets for the end of the game. And it's like, calm down, buddy. It's the All-Star game. But he was fiercely competitive. Like he wanted to be the guy in nets. I hated him. I absolutely hated him in their 2011 run. I thought he had one of the worst. And when I say mentality is where it stops. He doesn't have that flip-flop and fucking shit in the net that Tim Thomas did. Oh my God, I don't know how the hell he made some of his fucking saves. Anyways, all that to say is fiercely competitive. I think he could be another X factor. I think he's going to be there to backstop. He's going to be the first to be there since Carey Price to backstop the Canadiens when the freaking team takes a night off, and that's bound to happen. Unfortunately, that's bound to happen. But yeah, Jacob Fowler, I think if Carey Price had Jacob Fowler's mentality and it's premature, yeah, judge me, whatever. I think Jacob Fowler is built for this market. He is built to play in Montreal. And that was not Carey Price, my favorite player. My favorite player, place him above Kovalev. Carey Price would have been ideal in a place that they didn't know who Carey Price was other than when he was on the ice wearing the jersey. Jacob Fowler is going to thrive in this market, and he is going to be borderline obsessive.
That's all he said it. I want the bright lights. I want the spotlight. He goes, pressure is a privilege. So, dude,
he's like the Subban of goalies.
Sure, dude, but like I think he's got a swag in him too. I think, dude, like I can't wait. I can't wait for this kid to be signed and finally in the hands of the Montreal Canadiens. Zook, who's your number 3?
All right. Now, this is, like I said earlier, my 3 and 4 were there for similar reasons, okay? My number 3 is Hage.
Oh, shit. You have him high.
Again, the key word is adversity now. You got to remember what happened to Michael Hage a year before his draft.
Yeah.
His father, right? So those stories, and I'm going to give a parallel to another athlete, albeit in a different sport and league, if you will. Now, there's this racer in F1 called Charles Leclerc.
Yeah.
Okay. He's the current F1 driver for the Ferrari team.
Yeah.
He had a similar upbringing where, he was really close to his father. His father was really important to him getting to where he was at before his upbringing and whatnot. He dedicated his whole life to make his son, as much of a success as possible, basically, even if they didn't have a lot of money, right? So, and right the year before they turned pro, the father dies, right? So Charles' dad died. I don't know what was the reason. It was probably cancer of some sort or a heart attack, and that stuff really gets onto your mind, right? So like your mentality has to really you really turn. Like these are kids we're talking about. We're talking about he was 18 or 17 at the time. So he had to become a man sooner than later. So that stuff helps with the development. And if you see his mental game versus other 18-year-old kids at the time, he was miles above, Crosby level versus bottom tier. Now I think Hage is going to have the benefit of that as well. If you see the exponential difference of where he was before and after. Last year, he was fantastic. His game doubled. He almost had, I think he doubled his points. Even the way his skating, very cerebral. I don't know if you see that in his game, but he's very cerebral, paired with the fact that he has already NHL-ready skating, if you look at it. Mm-hmm. He could probably skate right now in the NHL and be, create chances, if you will. Now, he has to improve some things like I think he needs to gain a little more weight. He seems a little thin on that side of things.
Oh, for sure,
You know?
he's gonna pack on the muscle a little bit too,
But
for sure.
I think the next year is going to be a big year. So like I'm going to look into this kid every
Dude,
game
he's
he
going to a
plays.
good college, man. Michigan. He's going to Michigan.
Great team, great system there. Apparently the coach, all that. So
don't forget Michigan developed Adam Fantilli. You know,
yeah,
Hobie Baker.
exactly.
Hobie Baker
I think he's going to be great hands. And do you think he's going to get signed at the end of the season?
No, you got to do 2
You
years.
don't know, eh? Okay.
I think 2 years. Yeah, he's 18, 19, 19, 20. Yeah,
We'll see how good he is.
There's no need to rush him. Listen, there's a certain player we're going to name real soon. They let him play 2 years in college. Let him cook. Let him cook. Okay, no, I like that. I like that a lot. I like your reasoning, Zook. Okay, before we get to number 2, like I do want to say like honorable mentions. Like I really do like Luke Tuck. I think he should be in the top 15. I personally like Jared Davidson, and Anthony's going to agree. Like, I hope this kid stays healthy and has a bit of a bounce back year in Laval. You know, Adam Engstrom is in my top 15. Oliver Kapanen is in my top 15 too. And unfortunately, guys like Riley Kidney and Sean Farrell dropped a little bit just because maybe their roles dropped in Laval, and Sean Farrell had a lot of injuries last year too, which didn't help because him and Joshua Roy at one point were like one of the best duels in the minors. So, okay, number 2.
Do we say all at the same time?
Yes,
we could.
And
Okay, do we go? We go on 3 or on go?
Go.
3, 2, 1, and then we say it.
Name. Okay, cool.
Okay, 3, 2, 1. Name.
2,
okay.
Yeah.
3,
2,
2,
1. Hudson. Oh,
Hudson.
What the fuck, guys?
Wow, what's there to say? Like, he's gonna make the team out of camp.
100%.
I think it's his. As far as defensemen go, these rookie defensemen, it's his training camp to lose more than Struble.
Yeah, he's not going to lose it, dude. Look, he played the 2 games at the NHL.
Yep. 2
You're
points.
telling me he's not ready? By the way, I was looking at an interesting play. Okay, so like, was this his first point where when he shot the puck towards the net and then Gallagher scored from the rebound? Okay, so that specific play, guys, if you see his skating, so he shot the puck. Mm-hmm. So he shot it, he was like behind the face-off zone, right? The circle.
Behind the circle, yeah.
He was behind the circle. He shot it. He shot it to the goalie. The goalie had, I guess, it bounced off his pads and was a juicy rebound, right? Mm-hmm. And there was a couple players in front of him. He had the time. Dude, by that time he shot, so it's 1 second. He was already next to Gallagher.
Well, yeah, because that's because the puck was bouncing and then Gallagher got the rebound. But
Sammy, that's 1.5 seconds. That's how insane his skating is. Like, he is
all right. He's
incredible. And dude, had he missed the Gallagher, he would have probably gotten the fucking rebound and scored himself.
It could be. No.
But like, that's to show you how insane this kid is.
For me, the Lane Hudson play, and we all watched that game.
The shimmy.
When he shimmied deep between the legs, gave it to Savard. Savard found him in the slot, and you thought he was going to go for the one-time play.
I know.
If he would have scored on that play,
what a save, though, eh?
The Bell Center, the roof of the Bell Center would have fucking crushed everybody of the corner of Drummond and St. Catharines.
Sammy, all year you're going to see this.
Fuck it. Just the thought of it, I'm getting shivers, dude. Like, this kid is going to make me jizz. Zook, like you and I, we're going to be sharing that word together. Like, I'm telling you. Just sharing the word.
For every listener right now or viewer, we're going to be selling merch this year that's going to be jizz oriented.
It's not true. That is not
Come on, Sammy. Let's do it.
I want to do it.
White shirts, sweaters to off-white cream-colored shirts to cover the.
Let's go back to PG-13. This is PG-13. Yeah. No, look, dude, guys, Lane Hudson. It's. Did you see the video of like he went around Caden Gooley like so easily?
Yeah,
and then Caden Gooley was like,
Gooley who comes, he just says, "I never had a chance."
It's like
I never had a
chance. Like,
okay, this skating is insane, dude.
And Caden Gooley's a great skater.
who was it? Macklin Celebrini who said this. Who was the guy
Yeah.
who said the same?
Yes.
He was just like, he's not like, no, he's not gonna pull that shit on me. He's not gonna get me. And he's like,
Boom.
he got me.
Yeah.
Like with the
Yeah.
head fakes and everything.
The shimmy,
I don't know
shimmy.
why.
Yeah.
You said it, Zook. Like, I think his skating is outstanding. I think his edge work on his skates outstanding. I've seen Quinn Hughes play. I was 4 rows up from the ice in Vancouver to see Quinn Hughes play 2 periods right in front of my eyes in the
Beauty.
offensive zone. They say Quinn Hughes is that much better of a skater. They say, they look up to him like he's absolutely amazing, and they overlook, like they genuinely overlook. I don't know if you guys had heard, the Athletic had the Montreal Canadiens like chances rebuild evaluation. They put them
9th.
at 9th overall. It was fucking bullshit. And one of the big things that that particular author, I don't even think he deserves to have his name out there. He was just like, the Montreal Canadiens are going to be looking for a number 1 defenseman. I'm comfortable enough to say that I think beyond Gooley and beyond Reinbacher, I genuinely think Lane Hudson is going to be possibly that number 1, or sharing the number 1 role. He's that goddamn good. And I don't think he's a poor man, Quinn Hughes. I think he's right up there with him. I think his skating is just as good. I think he's going to, he's going to have to pick up his game a little bit defensively. But again, I keep repeating, he is so strong offensively. He's so strong with the puck. He's so intelligent with the puck. He creates so much space that, okay, he might not body check the guy and get the puck off in that sense. But once if he's able to knock the puck, that'll be enough.
Yeah, but
knock the puck,
I don't think he's going to be number 1.
That's all.
I don't think he's going to be number 1. He's not going to be matched up against Matthews and Kachuk and Kucherov and the guys, especially the guys in our division. I don't see that happening for Lane Hudson, at least not in his rookie year. Maybe throughout.
Not yet.
Not yet. But again, I still think you're going to have more guys like Gooley and Reinbacher being matched up against these guys.
But
for a guy to be a number 1, he needs to have penalty kill minutes. He's not going to be playing on the penalty kill.
Okay, but this is where the true debate is gonna fucking settle in right now. I don't see Gooley playing with Reinbacher whatsoever. Maybe for a portion of time, sure, why not? But Gooley is more of a defensively responsible player, and you can bet your freaking all your money that Reinbacher is going to be extremely responsible defensively. Naturally, the way I see it is, Hudson, who's going to take those offensive risks, is going to fall very nicely with a guy like Reinbacher, and Gooley, who's going to be very defensively responsibly, is going to fall very well with a guy like Mailloux. And I think it's just going to be very complimentary, and that's why I have more faith in Reinbacher. Like, I still put Reinbacher's potential as a defensive defenseman above that of Gooley's. I think Gooley all around it might be the most well-rounded, but because of the nature of the other players that he's playing against, I think Gooley's going to be on the second pairing eventually, or he'll be on your, whatever you want to call it. I don't think there's going to be a true first and second defensive pairing. All I'm saying is that I see Gooley matching with Mailloux, and I see Hudson matching super, super well with Reinbacher.
Probably they could. They played well together last year's rookie development camp, but it's just, again, it's even throughout, like if Hudson has at least over 100, 200 games, is he still going to be put on the ice to match up against Austin Matthews, Matthew Tkachuk?
Reinbacher will.
Reinbacher will. I don't think Hudson will. I don't think. Listen, to be a number 1, you got to be playing the 5-on-5 regularly, power play minutes, penalty kill minutes. That's the Drew Doughties. That's the Victor Hedmans, the Roman Yossi's. Listen.
Then I don't think I don't think we're going to ever truly have a number 1 in that sense. We have true role players, because Gooley is not going to be. I'm sorry to say, Gooley's not going to be on your power play.
I think he deserves a chance, though. I think he deserves a chance on the power play
this year. Absolutely, 100%. If Matheson is not there, if Matheson needs a shift off, if Hudson is not there, or needs a shift off in that sense, Yeah, absolutely. I see Gooley being there, but in the eventuality, like I see Hudson, I see Reinbacher before Gooley, strangely enough, and I also see definitely Mayu ahead of both of those, both Gooley and Reinbacher.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying Gooley's going to be a four. Like in all I'm trying to say is you're talking about a guy who's playing in every single role. I do see where you're getting at with I don't see Lane Hudson killing too many penalties in comparison to the other guys, but I don't think we're gonna have one guy like a Drew Doughty or McCarr that's gonna be you're always on. Shorthanded, even strength, man advantage, overtime. That's why I'm comfortable saying Hudson is going to be your first guy on the power play on defense. Hudson is going to be your first guy on the ice on defense for overtime. Hudson is going to be one of the primary guys who's always going to be there as a top pairing defenseman with Reinbacher very likely to go up against the other team's best players. So I'm just by deduction, I'm saying Hudson has that much more likelihood of being your unofficial number one. That's my logic, at least.
Zook, take away number one.
Or should we all say together?
All right, 3.
I'm not doing that again.
2.
Okay.
Zook, just go for it.
Demidov.
Dude.
Ivan Demigod.
Ivan Demidov, the demigod.
Yeah.
That's a no-brainer.
Obviously, our most offensively skilled talent that we have in our prospect pool.
Doesn't matter even if he's playing one shift in the third period in the KHL.
Yeah.
that got Habs fans fucking panic.
But I don't get it because you know what? The first game
either,
of the season, he was playing. He was productive. Then second game they lost, and then the third game, game he played no shift in the third period. It's like,
yeah. So they're playing. I know he's playing on Thursday at 12:30.
Yeah.
I would have tried to stream that, but listen, I think this kid has the same. That he has that it factor, just like Slavkovsky. Like those two, I can see those two getting along so well. You watch that behind the scene documentary. He's like,
we won.
That was the greatest thing ever. He's like, oh yeah, I play Slavkovsky. Pick up. Oh yeah, he lose.
He lose.
It was the greatest, dude. Can you would you have the balls? At the age now, 35, 36, if Jeff Gordon was like, do you think we're crazy that we don't pick you? Would you have the balls at the age of 35 to be like, yeah, you're crazy if you don't pick me? Like, dude, at the age of 18,
I had his fucking ability, maybe.
Yeah, at the age of 18, he's telling Jeff Gordon, yeah, you
And
guys are crazy if you
not
don't.
only that, Sam, yes, that's a huge thing, but also the fact that there's a language barrier.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. It's like, he's like,
no, but I'm saying most people with a language barrier are shy, timid. He was like, yeah, fuck. It's like, yeah,
it was
of course.
Yeah,
Pick me, fuck.
He didn't give a fuck. He was like,
no.
Like, are we crazy if we don't pick you? Yeah. He's like looking around too.
I love him.
Yeah, dude,
I love that kid, dude. He's such a beaut, man. Oh man.
But I think this is going to be the that finesse that we haven't seen since the Kovalev days, and I can't wait. I really think one full season in the KHL, him too, at the end of this year, another contract to a prospect along with Jacob Fowler, and next year, like, we're so excited about this prospect tournament, this prospect training camp coming up now. Can you imagine next year? Can you imagine next year when Fowler, possibly Demidov, Mayu, and Reinbacher, maybe even Owen Beck, like, actually will be NHL ready? Like,
yeah,
like, guys, like, just the thought of Demidov. He's a left-handed shot, plays on the right wing. Listen, if that first line of Suzuki, Slavkovsky, Caulfield is perfect and you don't touch that, what the fuck are teams going to do against Kirby Dog, Patrick Laine, and Ivan Demidov? I don't know if this
Get
is
killed.
Get I don't know if this
killed.
Is too early to say, but Jesus Christ, that top six looks insane. Not this year. I'm talking about next season. Like, with this kid Demidov, like, dude, just in his first game, he banked the puck off the boards and passed it to himself and almost scored a highlight reel goal.
That's
at full
intelligence, my friend.
You know, the big thing, you just said it, speed, but the fucking maneuvers that,
Yeah.
I don't know what they call them, those
It's
weird,
edge work.
like,
Edge work.
open up the feet.
Yeah,
When you open
edge-
up the
it's
feet
just-
and you pivot, and he's
his
fucking
edge work.
accelerating while pivoting. It's disgusting. There are only a handful of players who can skate like this.
He's like an octopus.
Opens up so much.
His edge work along the boards. That's what he does. It's insane.
Yeah.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
Chris. Oh my God. Like I think this is the first time like I'll really try to be paying attention to a KHL game. I'll put it on mute and I'll try to make sure I see his number if I could stream it online somewhere.
You could find links, dude. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I have a website in mind, but
no.
Oh my God, like it's too bad. It's too bad that the KHL and NCAA kind of like own the rights to these players and they can't participate in these training camps. That's why we're not seeing Jacob Fowler. That's why we're not seeing Michael Hage this year, because they're NCAA more or less players or products that the property, exactly. These NHL teams don't have their rights, and it's too bad, man, because if you put those three into this lineup, the Canadiens released the lineup, the list of players that are going to be attending. You put those three players in the, oh my God, like it just builds the excitement even more. And like, look, just guys, we're going to be wrapping this up real soon, but just putting this list together was just so much fun. And like, again, I don't know if I don't think this is being biased. I really think there's finally something to really look forward to. And I don't think it's being in denial anymore. Like back in the day, Zook and I, we were excited about Nikita Sherbak. Like no disrespect to him. The kid had all the talent, but you know what I mean? It didn't work out. But like we were excited about Nathan Beaulieu, about Jared Tenorti, about Michael McCarron. Like again, no disrespect to these guys, but Jared Tenorti just got a new contract. Michael McCarron's still in the NHL. You know what I mean?
Paling.
We were excited about Ryan Paling too, rightfully so. Fucking when you score a hat trick in your first NHL game, like of course that's what's gonna happen. You know, we're excited about Kotkaniemi. You know, despite that whole fucking backlash that Bergevin got for skipping out on Brady Tkachuk, whatever. But I think now finally, like going through this list and the reasoning why this current management now picked these kids based on the potential they are as players, who they're going to be as human beings into this current locker room. Like, listen, Simona Jacki said it best on the last episode. Like, they're building a family with this team. It starts from the top of Jeff Molson, and it's going to trickle all the way down to Marty St. Louis and the coaching staff. Even the guys, Pascal Vincent too, like they're going to bring such a positive energy and dynamic within this franchise, this organization that we call the Montreal Canadiens, and that includes the Laval Rocket. This is exciting. And guys, don't forget that documentary is coming out like real soon.
Oh, yeah.
Like real soon. I've been dreaming of a Montreal Canadiens documentary like this. And if there's going to be F-bombs left, right, and center because it's from Crave or it's going to be on Crave. I don't know who's in charge of it. I don't know if it's HBO or whoever it is. Who cares? Yeah. It's going to be
I doubt
amazing.
it, though.
No, I think it's going to be amazing. Like, I really, you have to put that authenticity in it.
Yeah.
But guys, this was fun. Like, anything else to add before we wrap it up?
You know what? I'm gonna say one name that you just brought up that seems so strange and so off topic. Actually, two things now that I think about it. But Pascal Vincent. In recent memory, I don't know how many other coaches that we've had in the minors that ended up getting picked up by other teams to end up becoming NHL coaches, but it's one of the first times that we're seeing the reverse where we have an NHL coach coming to coach our young guys.
Yeah.
So, if Pascal Vincent could actually prep them to be true pros and show them what the reality, or prep them for the reality of the NHL, that's a whole huge other factor that we're really not taking into.
Did you hear his little interview that he had after their first training session?
Today.
Yeah.
The 30-minute interview or so.
Yeah. So the one that really took me by surprise and was like, this guy is probably the right coach to help develop these kids. He goes, the difference between the NHL and the minors is that in the NHL, you might be winning 2-1 late in the game. There's a defensive zone face-off. You're probably going to put your veteran centerman out there to win it because he probably has the better chance at winning it. He goes, in the minors, we're going to teach you how to win, but it could come at a cost. Because he goes, I might put my younger player there or my rookie in the face-off zone to try to win that face-off when you're up 2-1 and there's not that much time left in the game. Like, to me, that makes me think that, like, no, this guy, this coach is the same thing like Marty. Let the kids play. And it's no disrespect to JFL and what he did with Laval. Like, JFL did the best he did with what he had. And, like, he had a lot of rookies. But I think JFL had a bit more of that. I'm putting my veterans before these rookies because I want to win to make playoffs. Maybe because he wanted to show that if I bring this team to the playoffs, it ups my chances of being a coach in the NHL one day. I'm not saying those were his intentions. It could be. But I think Pascal Vincent is a lot more open to giving these young guys, these rookies, so many minutes just to give them, because he says, like, my goal here is to give them all the tools and the chances they need to make the Montreal Canadiens. And again, like, JFL for sure had that same mentality. It's just that I think whatever interview he had, he was on the same page as Kent Hughes, as Jeff Gordon, as Marty, as Vincent Le Cavalier, as all of them. I think he really bought into this system and this plan. And he's like, I could add these two things to that plan. And probably everybody's like, you're our guy.
Yeah. I thank you for highlighting that. And on a completely other topic, just because of the hour and 40-minute long episode, probably the longest one in a long time. I want to leave the fans on this. Do your homework. I'd say besides Anaheim, potentially New Jersey, just because they have some more established players.
San Jose too.
Even San Jose. I'm not talking about the superstar level. Like San Jose, we don't have a Macklin Celebrini. We might have Demidov, but overall, like Celebrini,
Will Smith.
I'm not so sure that we're gonna have the same star power. But if we talk about the sheer number of young and highly talented, maybe not superstar, but very like star potential players, I am comfortable placing the Montreal Canadiens top 2 in terms of prospect pool in the whole league. I couldn't care how much of a homer, as much of a homer call as that sounds. Go do your homework. The only other teams that could come even remotely close with some established players like the Suzukis, the Caulfields, and all that. The only 2 teams that I see coming anywhere close to the Montreal Canadiens that have a good balance of a few star players and some really good prospects are the Anaheim Ducks and the New Jersey Devils. So let's say top 3. Top 3 teams, the Montreal Canadiens, the Anaheim Ducks, and the New Jersey Devils are going to be a scary team in the next 10 years. They're going to be battling against one another for years to come. Book it, bank it. That's my bold prediction.
Just on that note, right now the Canadiens are ranked at number 7 as heaviest team at 201 pounds. They're averaging a lot of it.
Yeah, it's a few teams that are tied with 201 pounds.
So they're tied for number 5. Yeah, but a lot of it comes from Slavkovsky and Jacky because they're just fucking monsters.
And Laney.
Thank you, Simona, for feeding them so well.
Yeah, 300 eggs a week. Jesus Christ, that was amazing. Well said, guys. Listen, I'm ready to wrap this up. So
we said it all, I think.
I enjoyed that. I love talking about the prospects. Listen to our viewers. If you lasted all the way through, comment you give us your top 5, your top 10, whoever you think is on that list. Thanks again for tuning in to another episode of the Curfew Boys podcast. Once again on YouTube, please like and subscribe. It's absolutely free. Tell your friends about us. have the discussion with us. Let's talk about the top 10 prospects. Share your thoughts. If you listen on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, any other podcast platform, thank you once again. We are on Instagram, Twitter, or X, Facebook, and TikTok. Sammy, on behalf of Chris and Zook, gentlemen, thank you so much for doing this. This weekend, don't forget Saturday, Sunday, the rookie tournament takes place at the Bell Center against the Toronto Maple Leafs rookies. We're going to be on Sunday, Chris and I, with two other of my buddies. Can't wait for that. Hope to see you guys there. Gentlemen, until next time, bye now.
Bye now. And good night.